Hi, everyone. Mr. Cruz here to talk to you a little bit about our sports and entertainment marketing course here at Livingston High School. So, the course is a semester course offered to juniors and seniors who have previously completed our marketing course, which I do highly recommend. But it's very fun, very interactive class, but we do learn a lot of valuable stuff throughout the course of the semester. So, if you're into sports, if you're into movies, if you're into music, if you watch TV, I think this class might just be for you, especially if you want to know a little bit more about the business end of those things. So let's find out what we're all about. So we are going to talk about what we're going to learn, but I also want to talk about how we're going to learn. So in this class, we don't really utilize a textbook. We don't really have too many quizzes. We don't have any tests. So it's mostly project-based learning, activity-based learning, a discussion-based classroom. So there's a lot of real-world application, especially with the industries that we're learning about with sports and entertainment. So we do use a lot of current events. We'll occasionally have, say, a current event Friday. Each of the students finds an article, a video, some new story that has popped up to share with the class. So we do use a lot of supplemental materials like articles, like videos. And as I said, we are a very interactive class. So pretty much every day we're going to have class discussion with you guys conversing with each other through group activities, cooperative learning, you guys talking to me, having a back and forth. You guys will also be conducting a good amount of research. Just recently, we went down to the media center and students researched how to put together a promotional budget for a promotional campaign or for a promotional plan, which is a big project that we have that I'll get into in a bit. Also recently, I believe last week, we had them research Fanatics.com, pick a team, pick an organization, find out the contract that they have with Fanatics and the licensing agreements. So just to give you a couple examples of what I mean by research. Again, project-based learning, that's where most of the grades are going to come from in the class. We will have a few guest speakers. This semester, we're going to have a professional race car driver, actually, an IndyCar race car driver, and Scott McLaughlin. Actually, another friend of mine, it works in the sports marketing industry, so he's going to come be a guest speaker for us as well. And hopefully, by next year, we'll be able to take some field trips as well, maybe to MetLife Stadium, hear from some professionals in that industry as well. So these are the units that we're going to be covering throughout the course of the semester. So over the next few minutes, I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview of the content that goes into each of these units. So we get started off with the marketing role in the sports and entertainment industry. So this will be a bit of a recap, a little bit of an overview of what you guys learned in your marketing course. So we'll talk about familiar topics like the 4 Ps, the marketing mix, target markets, but of course it'll be a little bit more specific to sports and entertainment. Sponsorships, endorsements play a huge role in those industries, as well as event planning and experiential marketing. And we actually put together a promotional plan or a promotional campaign ourselves for a sporting event at the school, whether it's a basketball game, a football game, really depending on what semester you take the course. Then we get into sports and entertainment industries and our economy. So, as you might imagine, sports and entertainment has a huge impact on our economy, billions and billions of dollars, whether it's local economies from stadiums bringing money in to local businesses, whether it's TV money, national money, international, huge events like the Olympics, Super Bowl, World Cup. So we're going to be covering all these events. We actually do an Olympic project ourselves, which we'll cover a little bit later in the presentation, where you, the students, come up with a pitch in order to get a bid for the city that you choose that you think is best for to host the Olympic events. We'll talk about pricing, what it costs these days to go to a game, for parking, for concessions, food, beverages, and of course the culture and lifestyle that surrounds all of it. Next, we get into branding and licensing, how to build your brand, how certain fans develop brand loyalty, whether it's for an individual, for a team, for an organization, for a league itself. So we talk a lot about public relations, the public image, different media outlets, social media, traditional media. Again, celebrity endorsements, you're going to see a little bit of overlap between some of these units because it's all relevant. And then licensing to build brand awareness. And speaking of overlap, intellectual rights, so that has a lot to do with licensing. Trademarks and copyrights, which are going to protect your logos, your slogans, your jingles, your literature, lyrics, beats. All of that stuff is legally protected. So if someone else needs to use it, they need a license to do so. So we're going to learn a little bit about that process. So when you do give out a license, you will get royalties or you'll get guarantees or you will accrue a certain amount of revenue based on those licensing agreements. We will touch on the history of sports and entertainment, technological influences. So recently, we've been talking about digital trading cards like NFTs, how social media, how on our cell phones we have games and highlights at our fingertips. Obviously, that's not the case 50, 100 years ago. So we'll learn about how it's changed a bit over time, how the venues have changed, how the content has changed, music, movies, entertainment. Figure out what the similarities and differences are, and trying to figure out what's going to be coming in the future. And then lastly, we have our careers in sports and entertainment, which is an incredibly important and useful unit that we teach. So figure out what the skills and attributes you need for some of these jobs, for some of these careers. Figure out what schooling you need, what degrees you need. Again, what the trends are, what's happening in the future. So this could be anything from event planning to sales to being a marketing executive to handling certain accounts, being a talent agent, working in media, public relations, fitness, and the list goes on. So now what I'd like to do, I'd just like to give you a small sample of what some of these projects might look like. So, as I mentioned before, we do an Olympic project. So I believe this was a group of 3. So their task was to pitch to me to try to get their city an Olympic bid. So they chose the Chicago Summer Olympics for 2036. So they had to run us through the budget. They had to run us through a little bit of the history of the city. Talk about what some of the tourist attractions are, why people would want to come to this site. Where it's located, is it easy to get to? What the infrastructure is, what the economy is like. So they go from everything from the existing venues to the venues that they might have to build, to the housing, where are the athletes and where are the fans going to stay? What benefits is it going to bring to the city? What are some of the challenges that they're going to face? All right, so all of this went into this project, and these kids really did a great job with it. So again, it might take a long time to go through every bit of this presentation, but again, the infrastructure, the transportation, how people are going to get around, all these things need to be considered when hosting a huge event like the Olympics. And then lastly, they came up with this incredible logo for the Olympics. Okay, so for our promotional plan that I mentioned before, for a sporting event at the school, this semester we are doing an event at the basketball game. So they need to figure out what the sport is, what the entertainment event is, the location, time, seating, all of those details. Figure out who the target market is. For us, it's going to be students. So how are we going to appeal to the students? What are our goals? We're trying to create buzz, get more people into the gym, more people into the seats, really increase interest, really engage more people. We're going to try to incorporate some sponsorships, some charitable organizations that maybe they can donate to, or maybe they can give us gift cards. We're going to throw a halftime event. So based on a survey to our target market, our students, are going to figure out what people are most interested in. Is it a 3-point contest? Is it a one-on-one competition? Okay, so based on that data, we're going to figure out what event we're going to throw at halftime. So once we figure out what event we're going to throw at halftime, who our sponsors are, who our charitable organization is, then we start putting it all together. We start promoting the event. We put together a promotional mix, ads, direct marketing. Are we hanging flyers around the hallway? Are we making announcements on AM Wired? How are we getting the word out? How are we really building that interest? And lastly here, I just have a couple testimonials from some of the students that I have in my class right now who were kind enough to put together a little video.
Hi, what's up? It's Leor. I'm a senior at LHS, and my favorite elective in my past 4 years has been sports and entertainment marketing. In this elective, it's taught by Mr. Cruz, and we learned a lot of good stuff about how to network and how to market properly in the real world. We also did a project based on the Olympics, so it's actually relatively fun since we treat it like a competition. This elective is really interactive and is honestly one of the best ones I've taken so far. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you to my man Leor. We have one more for you.
Hi, what's up?
Yo, why are you smiling? I'm smiling because I'm in my awesome sports and entertainment marketing class. Let me tell you a little about it. So in this class, we predominantly focus on marketing, entertainment, and sports throughout the school. Many examples of this are us doing surveys, posting flyers, shouting out games, And our new Instagram page, LHS SEM. It's a great page. Follow it for more updates. You know, we got a tight-knit community here. Mr. Cruz, great teacher, amazing guy. If you ever need help, go talk to him. You know, what's left to say? Like, it's a great class. Take it. Free elective, right?
And thank you to my guy, Danny. So I hope this was informative. Please, if you have any questions, anything that you want to discuss with me, again, I'm Mr. Cruz. Here's my email, scruz@livingston.org. We hope to continue to grow this class and hope to see some of you next year. Thanks for tuning in.